Okay, so this is a quick little video about some of the things that we really liked on the bus that we added to it. And I'll start with up here. I just kept this sign, and I kept the sign from the manufacturer that had all the information. It came in handy a few times. This is just a quick little storage, so we kept our bear spray, and we kept our passports, and we kept had a slingshot in there. I had gloves, things like that. This is a quick accessible coat rack that we could just come in the door, throw up our jackets really quickly. It's just made out of piping. A friend of mine made that for a gift. I have two of these in the bus. They're really good for telling the temperature and the humidity. Down below, I custom made these shelves here, and there's other shelves on the other side, and they are for our shoes. I custom built them to our highest shoe, which was our winter boot. So I built it to that standard, and then I just used some of the flooring that I had on the top of it. And then we would keep things here, like my gloves for going out to do the diesel, masks for COVID, hand sanitizer, CDs, anything that we needed. Maps, the maps really worked well under here, and we custom built that. Having one of these little phone holders worked well for us because I was able to put the phone here and use that for a navigational tool. I kept the stereo in the bus and the speakers, which was nice entertainment. In PEI, we visited the Stompin' Tom Connors Museum, and we picked up some CDs, so Sophie loved that, and we listened to them a lot. In the north, we started off in Saskatchewan and Manitoba in the north, and mosquitoes were quite bad, so we couldn't just open these windows. So I custom made these screens, and it's just, I used a Velcro on both sides, and I sewed them into the outside of the screening, and it worked really well. Like I said before, if you're watching some of these videos, these rappets were very useful. And I also purchased these little blinds from Walmart. They're blackout blinds. We didn't use them. I will put these again in the sleeping sections, but in the living spaces, we didn't really need it. In the north, I bought them because in June 1st, it's bright until midnight. So we wanted to use these along with the dark out curtains, but I didn't use them very often. But I used these clips to keep them up, and it was quite useful. So as we go back, I put some cup holders in that did not stick. I tried to silicone them in, but we just left them and they were fine. There are 4 of those with the 6 seat belts that worked out well. These mason jars were amazing. Do it right the first time. If you want to know what that is, you can watch the other video that I have made on these. But you use bolts and washers, and you bolt them in so they don't move. I did this 5 different times, and when you have a container of rice or quinoa and it falls here while you're cruising down the road at 100 kilometers an hour and it spreads everywhere, it doesn't work well. We actually bought a little battery-powered vacuum cleaner. These we used for water. They're 23-liter or 6-gallon jugs. We would fill those up and have them here for an emergency if we needed them, in case we ran out of water and we didn't have anything else. The sides here we used for a little bit of storage. And then, yeah, we had little cup holders. We bought these little hooks, and they have little cup holder things on them, and we put our 8 Canadian Skoolie mugs that we bought from Latvia in these. And yeah, they work nicely. We put a screen on the top as well. I had to replace this cover. It was broken. I got it from Bluebird in Ontario, which were great. And yeah, it's just the hatch that you can use. And I made this so we could open it and have ventilation throughout the evenings. I had curtain rods here originally that were the expansion ones that you open and put across and then click. They would fall down all the time, so I got closet hangers, and then I used these large dowels, and I got them based on the size of the grommets. These are all custom-built curtains that I made with the grommets. It took me many a days in the winter to make them, but I enjoyed it. So yeah, the storage for those. Like I said before, if you watch any of the other videos, smoke detectors, we have one in the sleeping section and in the living section. And then I had a bunch of this piping left over. It was metal conduit, and I just bought the little brackets from Walmart. I would get heavier gauge ones next time, and they were just for the curtain rod, and that worked really well as we were traveling. And beyond that, the skylights, There's another video of the skylights. They let in a lot of heat this time of year, which is wonderful, but in the middle of the summer it gets quite warm. So we actually have these thermal bubble pieces that we've custom cut and made so they will fit into this. So it closes it off. And then I custom built curtains with Velcro, and they simply go across and then extend all the way up like this, so that you have lots of blocking of the light, or at nighttime if you're in an area and you want to keep the heat in, or thermal curtain that is a blackout curtain as well. So elastic bands were absolutely amazing for us, and they still are. We would roll up something like this, grab an elastic band, put it on it, and then throw it in the drawer, and it worked really well for so many things. Elastic bands were probably the number one thing that we enjoyed while we were traveling. It just made life a lot easier. And beyond that, carbon monoxide detector and the skylights. And the last thing is we have these hooks. There's one hook here and there's one hook in the back. And what we would do is we would run a clothesline. And the clothesline, we could have our clothes drying when it need be, overnight or in the morning. And then, yeah, that would keep everything dry. So in a Skoolie like this, you have to have something called a battle with a rattle. A lot of things shake and move and fall in a bus, so you really have to be aware of that. So I use a lot of Velcro, and like for everything else, I get that at Canadian Tire. It is a little bit more expensive for what you do, so I cut it in half and use it. So I used it on the mosquito nets, and I used it to hold these up. But one of the biggest things, we love art and we support artists in a local community. And you'll see here, I've removed it now, but there were Velcro strips there and there and there. And if you look at any of our other videos, you'll see there was artwork here, there was artwork in the back, and they were all Velcro strips. And they were just Velcro stapled on, and then Velcro stapled onto the back of the artwork. And then I just slapped it on and it stayed there. Worked really well. I highly recommend Velcro for all of these things, and it really makes your life a lot easier. So Velcro is good. So this is the A Canadian Skoolie bus, and I hope you enjoyed the videos. And if you have any questions, definitely reach out and connect with us. You can listen to the podcasts at A Canadian Skoolie podcast. There'll be more of those coming up in the near future as we settle down and we get back into life, not in the bus, because the Canadian winter is coming, and this is not winterized for living in the Canadian winter. So yeah, beyond that, thank you for joining us and following us at A Canadian Skoolie.